Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report Urgent. Exclusive. Brand new from Allen Park. The phones are humming. The rumor is real enough to make your stomach drop. And if you miss this window, you'll wake up to breaking headlines that we've been whispering about here for days. We just hung 52 on the Bears and reminded the league that Detroit doesn't just bite kneecaps anymore. We bury teams, but beneath the fireworks, there's a cold, honest truth all of us can feel when the pads come off. One road ankle at defensive tackle, and the whole center of this defense gets thin in a hurry. That's why tonight isn't about a victory lap. It's about a move that could harden our spine for December football. Tap subscribe now, slam a like. Turn on notifications. The next 5 minutes decide whether you're reacting later or thinking 2 steps ahead with us right now. Because the name at the center of this rumor might be the exact kind of swing Brad Holmes loves when the price meets the profile. Mazi Smith, the 6'3 inches, 330-plus space eater in Dallas who flashes brute force pocket collapse and gap plug power. A former first-rounder who has shown moments but hasn't unlocked a full season of menace yet. The chatter is simple and dangerous. Detroit as a landing spot, Dallas willing to listen. A mid-round pick plus possible conditions. And the fit in Detroit that reads almost too clean on paper behind Allen McNeil and DJ Reader, with Aiden Hutchinson prowling the edges and our backers screaming through clean. You can call it depth if you want. I call it oxygen. Let's sit in the Globe at 52-21 demolition for a heartbeat, because it matters. We didn't just score. We dictated. Ben Johnson set a tempo on offense that made Chicago chase shadows. And the defense cash out in the second half was the kind of team-wide strangulation that travels. But you and I watched the trenches with a different eye. We know what last year's injury gauntlet felt like. We know how many snaps Allen took on fumes, how much heavy lifting Reader's shoulders as the quiet grown-up in the room, and how close this group always is to the razor's edge. Great teams don't wait for the edge to slice. They blunt it before it cuts. That's why this isn't about headlines. It's about January. Who is Mazi right now? Not the prospect brochure, the player on tape. He's a forklift in short spaces when his pad level stays right. 2-gap control, reset the line of scrimmage, force backs to make their reads a step deeper than they want. He's not your twitchy 3rd and 8 assassin. He's the 1st and 10 problem that turns 2nd and 6 into 2nd and 9. And makes the call sheet on the other sideline feel small. At Michigan, he was the anchor that let everyone else be fast. In Dallas, he's flashed that anchor in spurts, often in rotation, sometimes buried behind different front philosophies. In Detroit, in Aaron Glenn's attack-first structure, the assignment is clear. Eat doubles without giving ground. Keep the backers clean, and when the center oversets, walk him back into the quarterback's lap, so the edge rush has a finish. You feel how that sings next to Allen's first step quickness and Reader's veteran hands. You feel how it helps. Hutchinson set edges with violence without worrying that the A-gap turns into a freeway. And let's talk about the calendar, because this rumor rides the calendar as much as it rides the tape. Trade deadline weeks are where smart teams buy undervalued traits with tomorrow's pick that won't help you shed a block in Green Bay on Christmas Eve. Dallas looks at their room and sees numbers. We look at ours and see rolls. A conditional mid-rounder is a calculated roll of the dice when the payoff is not splashy sack total, but 5 drives a game that start behind the chains because the middle didn't move. In Detroit, that's a playoff swing hidden in plain sight. Scheme fit isn't just chalkboard talk. It's human. Put Mazi between Reader and Hutch during individual period, and tell me that doesn't shave a year off the learning curve. Pair him with Allen on the second wave, and now you're sending a fresh 600-plus pounds of spite tired guards for 30 snaps. Rotate him into a heavy goal line front with a 4th DL and make teams choose between trying to bounce outside on Hutch or testing 3 mountains with low leverage. If you watched that Bears game and thought 1 injury and we're patching with duct tape, this is the antidote. It's not about panic. It's about building a spine that doesn't flinch when the weather turns mean. I can already hear the pushback over the speakers. We just scored 52. spend capital on a WR3 or another corner? Or, if he hasn't broken out in Dallas, why would he do it here? Fair questions. So let's answer them. 1. Our offense will eat all year as long as it stays healthy and stays multiple. Ben is a problem solver, and we've got answers across the formation. 2. Corners matter in January, but corners look a lot better at the catch point when the quarterback can't hit twice because the pocket is caving from the belly. 3. Dallas isn't Detroit. Roles, techniques, and the demand for violence are different. In this room, with these coaches and these standards, big men tend to find themselves faster because the job definition is brutally simple. Knock the line back or you don't play. There's also a culture layer we can't ignore. Dan Campbell doesn't bring in guys who can't handle sweat equity. He brings in men who like the hard parts. Everything about Mazi's frame and background says he's built to do the unglamorous work that makes other people famous. If he buys into that, if he leans into being the hinge that lets our edges slam doors, you'll hear his name less on broadcasts, while you see third and long more on down markers. That's the kind of paradox we live with happily in Detroit. Play anonymous, win loudly. Now price. This channel doesn't do fantasy trades for clicks. A fair deal lives around a mid-round pick with escalators tied to snap share or playoff wins. Maybe a fringe roster player who fits their special team's need. You do not ship premium picks for interior depth unless you're one piece away from a parade and you know it in your bones. We're aggressive, not reckless. Brad Holmes has been surgical with his capital, and nothing about his track record screams overpay for a name. The reason this rumor has legs is because the price could match the upside curve. Rotation? Picture this Sunday script. Early downs. Reader and Allen start. Hutch and the edge of the week roll out wide. Second series. Mazi spells Reader. Allen bumps shades to attack the guard's outside shoulder, and we dare them to run duo into a wall. 2-minute drill. Allen plus our best penetrator inside for heat. Mazi ready for the third quarter body blow series where the opponent wants to reestablish the ground game. Red zone. Read a Mazi Allen in a 3-man interior with Hutch wrecking tight ends pick your poison. You feel how that wears on a center's lungs across 4 quarters. You feel how that pulls one free blitzer for Aaron Glenn to send when it matters. And for anyone asking, why now when we're only 1-1? Because this is when the market is rational. Wait 3 weeks, let 2 contenders lose a tackle to injury, and you're bidding against anxiety. Move now. You're bidding against spreadsheets. Anxiety always pays more than spreadsheets. We are not the desperate buyer here. We're the team that knows where its roof is and refuses to wait for rain to fix it. There's an offensive ripple effect too. When your defense stacks negative plays, Ben Johnson gets to call games with his foot on the gas because he knows he'll see extra possessions and short fields. That's how 52 happens without playing perfect complementary ball. Imagine December in Minnesota with the line of scrimmage moving backward for the home team all night. That's not just 3 points off the board. That's the crowd leaving early and your running game eating clock. Let's be clear about what Mazi isn't, so we can be honest about what he is. He's not the individual sack merchant you put on a poster and sell to kids. He's the reason the sack merchant you already have gets there in 2.7 seconds instead of 3.3. He's not your fix the defense button. He's your raise the floor so the ceiling matters button. And that might be the single smartest purchase a contender can make when the grind starts stealing legs. If all this feels like I'm campaigning, I am within reason. My personal opinion, as the guy who's been screaming about interior depth since camp, I would make the deal if the cost sits at a mid-rounder with smart conditions and 0 premium assets. Because the math of January football says win the A gaps, win the day. I would not touch the top of the draft for a rotational nose unless we lose a starter long term. I would bring Mazi into this room, let Reader be the example, let Allen be the energy, and let Hutch be the standard. I'd feed him 25 snaps, then 30, then 35 if the tape says more, and I'd sleep better every Saturday night, knowing one road ankle doesn't put our season on stilts. Your turn, Detroit. Do you spend a mid-round pick to lock down the heart of this defense for the months that actually decide legacies? Or do you ride the current rotation and pray the injury gods show mercy? Does a Mazi Reader Olim interior make you feel like this team can go win a rock fight in January on the road? Or do you want Brad to aim those resources at another spot entirely? Drop your blueprint in the comments, bring your snap counts and your trench nerd notes. And if you're rocking with us through every rumor and every reality check, hit subscribe and share this with that friend who only watches the ball. We're teaching them how games really get won. My last word tonight, straight from the gut, the 52 was fun because it was loud. This move would be smart because it's quiet. Quiet wins travel. Quiet wins keep you alive when the weather turns mean. Quiet wins make the city explode later. If the price is right, I'm in.